my opponent's case, I would like to sincerely thank the judges and my opponent for your time, efforts, and hard work. Please allow me to reaffirm why morality is the highest value and why the negative should win this round. Contention 1. Civil disobedience disrupts citizens' lives. Civil disobedience disrupts citizens' lives. Climate activists in Germany once glued themselves to roads, causing traffic and frustration from drivers. There have been many more similar instances. Insensitively, those who commit these acts hinder everyone, from ambulances to the common citizen, from getting where they need to be. As recently as May of last year, 60 flights were canceled when 6 activists glued themselves to the Munich airport runway. Consider the airport staff forced to take care of this issue and the hundreds of passengers with flights delayed. Even if there are people who commit civil disobedience more mildly, accepting it leaves room for audacious individuals. This leads me to my second contention. Contention 2, civil disobedience is unnecessary. Civil disobedience is unnecessary. There have been several instances where climate activists have thrown food at a Monet masterpiece and a Van Gogh painting in order to make a statement. They have also glued themselves to works of art. Attempting to ruin historical pieces strips countless people of an opportunity to study the piece in person. Not only are there more effective ways of protest, but there are alternative, less destructive ways to take a stand against legislation, like the ones I listed before in cross-ex and in my contention. You don't need to risk your own safety and freedom to make a difference. Contention 3. Citizens have a duty to uphold morality. Citizens have a duty to uphold morality. The Extinction Rebellion, an environmentalist activist group, caused up to £6,000 worth of damage to the Shell headquarters in London. A spokesperson from this oil company noted, quote, "We respect the right of everyone to express their point of view. We only ask that they do so with their safety and the safety of others in mind." Even though these activists attacked a building rather than a human, the destruction they committed caused an indirect liability. Now let's move on to addressing my opponent's case. My opponent proposed the value of justice. However, I would like to restate my response to this, which you can tag as morality highest. Morality highest. Their value must not be valued as higher than morality, because you cannot have justice without morality. It's simply impossible. Morality is the basis for all fundamental values. And I would like to remind the judges and the audience in this round that this is a Lincoln-Douglas debate, which means that at the end of the day, you vote for either side based on the values. And I continue to urge that morality should be valued as higher than justice. And my opponent's first contention was that democracy is not perfect. However, you can tag my response as civil disobedience is not the answer. Civil disobedience is not the answer. Like I stated before, there are several other ways to bring forth change, such as voting, boycotting. If you get enough people, if the cause is really that severe and it demands change, you're likely going to get a lot of people to back you up on that. And by getting a lot of people to vote, to boycott, to do everything, it's impossible to not get the attention of the government. So I continue to urge that civil disobedience is not the answer. My opponent's second contention was that civil disobedience strengthens democratic value and he stated pretty much it increases freedom. However, you can tag my response to this as civil disobedience infringes on human rights. Civil disobedience infringes on human rights, including freedom, because people who are victims of civil disobedience also have the right to not have to be just wrongfully hindered or treated wrongfully or endangered. There are many, like I said before, there are many alternatives to express oneself. I would also like to propose that freedom of speech and opinion in democracy, that's also a value. So yes, they have freedom, but they also have freedom of speech. However, it crosses a line when it endangers and negatively impacts innocent bystanders. The quality of life is a human right too. I would like to urge this. My opponent's last contention was that democratic civil disobedience is justified when it is peaceful and aimed at justice. However, like I said before, you can tag my response as civil disobedience is not always is not always peaceful. Okay, let's say someone has a good cause. However, that doesn't always mean that it's always going to remain peaceful. Like the example I stated before, the 6,000 pounds worth of damages by by pressing damages on a Shell headquarters in London, that's definitely not peaceful. Therefore, I strongly urge the judges to stand against resolution and side with the negative. I'd like to remind everyone that this debate isn't on whether each side is important, but which should be valued higher. I stand by my argument that morality and life quality are key fundamental values that democracies are built upon. Civil disobedience endangers both the sanctity and quality of